How do you shelter millions of soldiers fighting a global war? Back in 1941, this wasn't just a theoretical question, it was an urgent, massive logistical nightmare. The United States was on the brink of entering World War II, and suddenly, every military base, every battlefield, far from home, faced the daunting task of housing countless troops. Imagine the scale. Millions of men deployed worldwide, each needing shelter that was more than just a roof over their heads. It had to be quick to build, strong against brutal weather, and easy to transport. The American war effort depended on cracking this problem, but no one had the solution yet. December 7, 1941, a date seared into history. The surprise attack on Pearl Harbor jolted the United States from cautious neutrality into full-scale war. In an instant, millions of American troops began deploying across the globe, racing against time to meet an enemy that seemed to appear everywhere at once. Suddenly, the world was a battlefield, and the stakes had never been higher. This massive military mobilization wasn't just about strategy and firepower. It demanded solutions for the most basic needs, starting with shelter. As soldiers marched off into unknown and often brutal territories, the existing camp structures quickly proved inadequate. This was just the beginning of a logistical nightmare that would push innovation to its limits. In the sprawling Pacific theater, American forces found themselves relying on the standard-issue shelters, canvas tents, and prefabricated wooden barracks designed for quick setup but never meant for the brutal conditions ahead. These makeshift homes faced immediate trials. Drenched by torrential tropical rains, canvas tents quickly became soggy traps, their fabric weighed down and collapsing into muddy messes. Wooden barracks, while seemingly sturdier, faltered under relentless humidity, rotting away and inviting termite infestations that ravaged the structures from within. These failures weren't mere inconveniences, they threatened the well-being and readiness of millions, spotlighting a glaring problem that demanded urgent innovation. The results were nothing short of disastrous. Canvas tents, so common and seemingly reliable, buckled under relentless tropical downpours. Rain pounded day and night, saturating the ground until the camps became sprawling seas of mud. Soldiers trudged through murky quagmires while their shelters sagged and collapsed, offering little protection from the elements. What was meant to be a simple refuge turned into a source of misery, threatening the health and morale of entire battalions. In this hostile climate, the very fabric of military readiness was unraveling. Wooden structures weren't much better. Subjected to relentless tropical humidity, they began to rot quickly. Termites swarmed in, gnawing away at the supports until the buildings weakened and became unsafe. The dampness also invited mold and mildew, turning once solid barracks into unhealthy, crumbling shelters. For soldiers already battling harsh conditions, these failing huts meant more than discomfort. They posed a real threat to their health and mission readiness. In a war where every advantage counted, unreliable housing was a serious liability. The search for a better solution was becoming urgent. This problem isn't just a minor setback, it's a full-on strategic nightmare. Imagine an army that's too sick or exposed to fight effectively. Without proper shelter, soldiers fall victim to relentless tropical diseases, respiratory illnesses, and infections that chip away at their strength faster than any enemy bullet could. The stakes couldn't be higher. If troops aren't protected and healthy, the entire war effort risks grinding to a halt before battles are even fought. This is a fight not with guns or tanks, but against the elements and vulnerability itself. Shocking medical reports start pouring in from the Pacific Front. More soldiers are landing in hospitals due to respiratory illnesses, relentless fungal infections, and extreme exposure than from actual battle wounds. This isn't just a minor setback, it's a crisis. The harsh tropical climate, combined with inadequate shelter, is silently debilitating the fighting force. An army weakened by disease is an army at risk of collapse. Suddenly, the importance of shelter transforms from a logistical detail into a life-or-death mission. The challenge is clear. Find a solution that can protect millions from invisible enemies lurking in the humidity and heat. The stakes couldn't be higher. The Army urgently needs a new kind of shelter, one that can be produced by the thousands at lightning speed. It must be affordable, so costs don't spiral out of control. And light, because every pound saved means more can be shipped across vast oceans to front lines where lives depend on it. This isn't just about buildings, it's about survival. The challenge is immense. To invent a shelter that ticks all these boxes without sacrificing strength or ease of assembly. Time is running out, and failure is not an option. Beyond strength and durability, this new shelter faced a critical challenge. It had to be simple enough for untrained soldiers to assemble quickly, sometimes in the chaos of war, under relentless heat, pouring rain, or enemy fire. Every design decision hinged on ease and speed. Complex blueprints or specialized tools were a no-go. The structure needed to come together with clear instructions, basic parts, and no guesswork. Because in a hostile battlefield environment, every minute saved meant lives protected and missions preserved. This was not just engineering, it was survival made practical. The shelter had to be more than just a roof over heads, it needed to be a fortress against nature and war alike. Pacific typhoons unleashed ferocious winds and relentless rain, while enemy bombs threatened sudden and devastating blows. The challenge? Create a structure tough and resilient enough to withstand these extremes. Not just strong, but smart, built to endure the harshest conditions with simplicity and speed. This was more than engineering, it was survival, a lifeline for millions in the chaos of World War II. The initial spark of innovation came from an unexpected place across the Atlantic. British engineers stepped forward, sharing blueprints for their tried-and-true World War I-era shelter known as the Nissen Hut. This semi-cylindrical structure, made from corrugated iron, was clever in its design, offering a quick-to-build, semi-permanent housing solution for soldiers in the trenches. It was a logical starting point, a blueprint with battle-tested roots. But as promising as it seemed, this old Allies design carried flaws that clashed badly with the harsh realities of the Pacific theater. Its hefty steel made shipping a nightmare, the wooden frame inside was all too tempting for tropical termites, and the ventilation was sorely lacking. Still, this glimpse into the tried and true set the stage for American ingenuity to race ahead and reinvent shelter for a war that demanded nothing less than bold, rapid innovation. While the British Nissen Hut offered a clever blueprint born from World War I experience, it quickly showed its weaknesses under Pacific conditions. Its heavy steel frame made shipping a logistical nightmare, and the wooden elements invited termite infestations that thrived in tropical climates. Worse yet, its ventilation was poor, making it an uncomfortable and unhealthy environment for soldiers exposed to intense heat and humidity. This wasn't just a minor inconvenience, the hut's fundamental design flaws meant it couldn't meet the urgent demands of a brutal, rapidly evolving war theater. The Quonset Point team knew they needed to think bigger and bolder to redefine what a military shelter could be. The British Nissen Hut seemed like a clever starting point, but it came with major flaws for the Pacific War. Its heavy steel made it a shipping nightmare impractical when you need thousands shipped across vast oceans. The wooden frame was a bigger problem. Termites thrived in tropical climates, eating away at the structure's integrity. And ventilation? Almost non-existent. In the stifling heat and humidity, these huts became unbearable. It was clear no matter how smart the idea, this design just wouldn't hold up where it mattered most. The stakes were high, and a better solution wasn't just needed, it was urgent. In early 1942, the situation was urgent. The U.S. Navy sent out a desperate call. They needed a shelter that could be produced fast and in massive quantities, 10,000 units, ready within 6 months. It wasn't just about comfort. It was about survival and keeping the war effort moving forward. Every minute counted. This wasn't a routine request but a race against time, pushing engineers to think beyond conventional designs to meet an impossible deadline. The pressure was immense, but so was the resolve to deliver a solution that could change the course of history. At the naval construction base nestled in Quonset Point, Rhode Island, a critical mission was underway. This wasn't just any military project, it was the epicenter of innovation amid a raging global war. Engineers and architects, freshly gathered under one roof, faced a daunting challenge: to turn a desperate need for rugged, rapidly deployable shelters into reality. With raw determination, the team began to sketch, design, and prototype what would soon become a symbol of American ingenuity, the Quonset Hut. Every decision mattered because millions of soldiers' lives depended on creating a shelter that could stand strong against the harshest conditions, yet be simple enough for fast assembly anywhere in the world. Here, at Quonset Point, the foundation for a legend was being laid. Assembling the team at Quonset Point, a diverse group of engineers and architects faced an enormous challenge. Their mission was clear but daunting: design a shelter that could be mass-produced, shipped across oceans, and assembled swiftly by soldiers under the harshest conditions. No one person held all the answers. Instead, it was their combined expertise and relentless ingenuity that fueled the spark of innovation. Bound by urgency and purpose, they became a collective protagonist, united against the impossible to revolutionize military housing in the heart of a global war. Enter Otto Brandenburger, a man whose name might not ring familiar in military history, but whose ingenuity would leave a lasting mark. Otto wasn't a war architect. He cut his teeth designing strand steel farm barns, structures built tough against nature's whims. His expertise? A revolutionary self-supporting arched roof, no internal beams needed, just pure steel strength carrying itself. This humble, agricultural innovation sparked an idea so radical that it would upend traditional military shelter design and set the stage for a shelter that would redefine resilience in wartime. Otto Brandenburger brought fresh eyes to an inexperienced market, age-old problem. His barns weren't just any barns, they had a breakthrough design featuring thin, self-supporting arched roofs that required no bulky internal supports. This revolutionary approach was a game-changer, transforming how structures could bear weight by letting the arch itself carry all the loads. It was simple, elegant, and incredibly strong, a perfect blueprint waiting to be adapted for the military shelters desperately needed in the Pacific. Brandenburger's insight sparked a radical idea. What if the same principle could create lightweight, durable huts for soldiers, making every piece essential and no more? Inspired by his experience with innovative barn designs, Brandenburger and his team made a bold decision. They proposed abandoning the traditional internal frame of the Nissen Hut altogether. Instead, they aimed to let the corrugated steel shell carry all the structural weight on its own. This leap defied long-held architectural norms, but it was rooted in proven farm structures that had stood strong against brutal Midwestern tornadoes. Their vision was revolutionary: a lightweight, self-supporting arch that could revolutionize military shelter. This was a bold break from tradition. Instead of relying on a heavy internal frame, the team envisioned the corrugated steel skin itself carrying every load. This meant the hut's curved, ribbed exterior wouldn't just shield soldiers from the elements, it would be the very backbone of the structure. It was a gamble, sure, but one fueled by a deep belief in the strength hidden within those steel waves. This radical idea promised shelters that were lighter, easier to ship, and faster to build exactly what the war demanded. It was a leap into the unknown, but necessity made it imperative. The gamble was bold, yet grounded in reality. They weren't building castles in the sky. Instead, they took inspiration from the rugged farm barns that had stood strong against the fierce tornadoes tearing through the American Midwest. Those structures had endured nature's wrath, their curved roofs and steel frames flexing but not breaking. This proven durability gave the team a seed of hope. If a barn could survive a tornado, then maybe this new shelter could brave the relentless Pacific storms. It was a daring leap, trusting that the Quonset Hut's skin would hold everything together, bearing the full force of wind and rain without collapsing. The clock was ticking just 60 days to turn a bold idea into a solid reality. At Quonset Point, Rhode Island, the pressure was immense. This wasn't just about building a shelter, it was about creating a lifeline for thousands of soldiers facing the brutal conditions of the Pacific Theater. Every moment counted. The team knew they couldn't afford slow blueprints or endless meetings. They had to think fast, prototype faster, and innovate under fire. With minds sharp and determination unyielding, they set out to design a structure that could be shipped quickly, assembled swiftly, and stand strong against nature's fiercest fury. Failure was not an option. Under immense pressure and racing against the clock, the Quonset Point team took a bold step. They discarded the slow, painstaking traditional drafting methods. Instead, they embraced a rapid-fire approach, sketching, testing, and refining designs on the fly. Every adjustment, every new idea was put immediately to the test. This break from convention was risky, but it injected the project with a sense of urgency and agility that matched the stakes, delivering a revolutionary shelter in record time. The engineers weren't just designing a building, they were inventing a lifeline for millions of soldiers fighting in the relentless Pacific Theater. Faced with an impossible deadline and an urgent need, the Quonset Point team shattered tradition. Instead of painstakingly perfecting blueprints over weeks, they embraced a bold new approach, rapid, iterative prototyping. Designing, cutting, and assembling components on the fly, they tested ideas in real time, learning from each attempt and adjusting instantly. This fast-paced cycle of innovation allowed them to discover what worked and what didn't far quicker than standard methods. Inspired by aircraft manufacturing, every piece was numbered, every change logged meticulously. They turned the challenge of war into a relentless laboratory, racing against time to craft a shelter that could stand up to the harsh realities of combat zones. Drawing inspiration from aircraft manufacturing, the team meticulously numbered every single part, treating the hut like a complex machine rather than just a shelter. Every modification, no matter how small, was carefully documented, no loose ends, no guessing games. This level of precision wasn't just about creating a prototype, it was about crafting a system that could be replicated thousands of times under intense pressure. The blueprint became a living document, evolving as new challenges arose, ensuring that each piece fit perfectly during those critical assembly hours on distant battlefields. At Quonset Point, the team tirelessly tested and fine-tuned their design variables, zeroing in on the perfect balance between function and form. After careful calculation and trial, They settled on an 8-foot arch radius, just enough to maximize headroom inside without compromising the structural strength that was so critical for battlefield survival. This wasn't just a random choice. It was a precise decision born from experience and relentless experimentation, ensuring every inch of space served a purpose, while the shelter remained robust against the harshest elements. This key measurement would become the backbone of the Quonset Hut's iconic shape. At 48 feet long, the Quonset Hut's dimensions were no accident. The design team settled on 16-foot wide panels, a size carefully chosen to optimize interior space while fitting perfectly within the constraints of standard shipping containers. This balance was crucial. Each panel had to be large enough to create a spacious, usable shelter inside, yet small and light enough to be efficiently transported across vast oceans. Logistics in wartime demanded precision, and this measured length ensured the huts could be packed tightly, shipped swiftly, and assembled swiftly by troops battling the elements far from home. The team didn't waste a single minute. They tested every gauge of steel they could find, hunting for that perfect balance, strong yet light, durable, but not too heavy to ship. Fastening methods were a battlefield in themselves. Rivets, bolts, welds, they scrutinized them all. Each tiny decision could save hours in assembly or pounds in transport. The pressure was relentless. Around-the-clock shifts blurred day into night as they pushed, pulled, hammered, and measured, chasing a shelter that could stand against typhoons and bombs, yet go up fast with no expert hands. This was no ordinary steel hut. They were building a lifeline for millions. An early assembly test brings a sobering reality. It takes a 6-man crew, a grueling 14 hours, to put together just a single prototype. The clock is ticking, and this pace is far too slow for the relentless demands of war. Every extra hour spent erecting shelters means troops left exposed and vulnerable. The team digs deeper, analyzing every step. They know cutting this time dramatically is the key to success and survival. This is far too long for a combat zone. Every extra hour on the clock means more exposure, more risk. So the team dives deep into their process, scrutinizing each step, searching for exactly where time is wasted. They're like surgeons, cutting away anything unnecessary, hunting for the bottleneck, slowing them down. It's a race against the clock and against the harsh reality of war. They zero in on the core issue, the wooden floor system. It's complex, bulky, and added unnecessary weight that slowed everything down. In the wild, unpredictable combat zones, every extra hour and pound counts. That massive floor wasn't just a construction headache, it was a roadblock to rapid deployment. The team realizes that if they want to meet their tight deadlines and keep soldiers safe, this old-fashioned floor has to go. It's a bold move that could reshape the entire design, and it just might be the breakthrough they need. In a bold and unexpected move, the engineers decided to scrap the entire wooden floor system. This was no small tweak. It was a radical overhaul that cut down assembly time drastically. Without the heavy floor dragging them down, building a hut went from a grueling 14 hours to just 8. Shipping became far easier too, with each kit shedding a massive 1,200 pounds. This choice wasn't just about speed, it was a game changer for logistics and battlefield readiness. Suddenly, the Quonset Hut was lighter, faster to erect, and more practical than ever, a true breakthrough in solving the wartime shelter crisis. This single change ignited a chain reaction. Suddenly, what took nearly 2 full days to assemble was slashed down to just 8 hours. The team's radical decision to ditch the complex wooden floor wasn't just a shortcut, it revolutionized everything. Not only did assembly speed jump, but shipping became far easier. They trimmed a staggering 1,200 pounds off each kit's weight. For logistics officers, this was pure gold, a lighter, faster-to-build shelter that could arrive and stand up on distant battlefields with unprecedented speed. The Quonset Hut was no longer just a concept. It was rapidly becoming the practical solution the war desperately needed. By cutting a staggering 1,200 pounds from each kit's shipping weight, the Quonset Hut transformed from a cumbersome burden into a logistician's dream. This wasn't just about saving pounds, it meant faster transport, easier handling, and the flexibility to deliver vital shelter wherever troops were deployed across the vast Pacific. Every pound shed translated directly to lives protected and operations streamlined, proving that sometimes the smallest design tweaks can unleash the biggest advantages on the battlefield. They'd slashed assembly time nearly in half, transforming the Quonset Hut from a logistical headache into a rapid response shelter. But speed was just one piece of the puzzle. Could this lightweight steel miracle withstand the Pacific's brutal typhoons, enemy bombs, and the endless battering of war? The engineers and soldiers alike held their breath. Now, the real test was about to begin, a trial by nature and fire that would prove whether this bold design was simply clever or truly battle-born. On the 10th of June 1942, just under the 60-day deadline, the final prototype of the Quonset Hut stood complete. It was a testament to relentless innovation and rapid teamwork. 96 lightweight, corrugated steel panels, carefully engineered and numbered, ready to be assembled into a shelter unlike any before. This wasn't just any building. It was a possible game-changer for soldiers stationed in the harshest corners of the world. With an unobstructed interior space of 720 square feet, it promised durability, ease of assembly, and resilience against nature's fiercest assaults. The race wasn't over yet. The real challenge would be proving this remarkable idea could survive the brutal tests of war and weather alike. The finished prototype was a marvel of efficiency and design. 96 lightweight, corrugated steel panels that snapped together with precision. Alongside the panels came every necessary piece of hardware: nuts, bolts, braces, and a clear, soldier-friendly instruction manual that turned assembly from a daunting task into a straightforward process. This complete kit promised not just quick construction, but durability and versatility, ready to be shipped and assembled wherever the war demanded. It wasn't just a shelter, it was a lifeline engineered for the harsh realities of the Pacific battlefield. When the Quonset Hut is assembled, it transforms into a surprisingly spacious shelter, offering 720 square feet of usable, unobstructed interior space. This open layout was revolutionary. No internal supports or beams to get in the way. It could comfortably house troops, equipment, or even serve as a workspace. Every inch was carefully designed for maximum efficiency, ensuring soldiers had a reliable and practical refuge in the toughest conditions. This intelligent use of space made the Quonset Hut not just a shelter, but a vital asset on the battlefield. The prototype was no longer just a concept, it had a name, an identity: the Quonset Hut. Crafted from lightweight corrugated steel, designed to be shipped anywhere, assembled by any soldier, it embodied hope and resilience. Now it was ready for the ultimate test, a harsh trial by nature and the unforgiving realities of war. Would this bold design survive the relentless Pacific storms, the searing battlegrounds, and the chaos of combat? The answer would come not in blueprints, but in the coming battles that would decide its fate. The engineers wasted no time, plunging into rigorous testing to see how the Quonset Hut would stand up against the fierce Pacific typhoons. They studied every curve, every panel, analyzing how the hut's aerodynamic shape interacted with nature's raw power. Would its graceful arch deflect the punishing winds or buckle under the onslaught? This moment was critical, the difference between a shelter that saved lives and one that failed when it mattered most. The team's determination was palpable as they pored over real-world storm data, desperate to prove their bold design could outlast even the deadliest weather imaginable. The secret lies in the shape itself. Instead of standing rigid against powerful winds, the Quonset Hut's curved roof lets the storm flow over and around it, not smashing through it. That arch becomes a shield, bending the fierce gusts, channeling their force safely away. And those corrugated steel panels? They're not just sheets of metal, they're thousands of tiny I-beams working together, giving the hut surprising strength and stiffness. This genius design means that, unlike traditional buildings vulnerable to wind tearing off roofs, the Quonset Hut stands firm, its arch distributing every bit of that chaotic energy evenly down to the ground. Its engineering tuned perfectly to survive the deadliest tempests of the Pacific. As they delve deeper into the design, the team uncovers a hidden secret in the steel's surface. Those corrugations aren't just for show. Each ripple acts like thousands of tiny I-beams, giving the panels extraordinary strength and stiffness. This ingenious detail transforms the hut's skin from a simple shell into a powerful structural backbone, allowing it to bend and flex under pressure without breaking. It's a revelation that changes everything, turning conventional building wisdom on its head and proving that less truly can be more when it comes to durability. Unlike conventional buildings, where wind can easily catch under the eaves and literally lift the roof off its walls, the Quonset Hut's genius lies in its continuous arch. This arch acts like a compression ring, a seamless loop of steel that channels the force of the wind all around the structure, distributing pressure evenly instead of fighting it head-on. It's a clever design, one that doesn't just resist nature's fury, but works with it, letting the air flow smoothly over the curved surface, reducing the chances of damage from storms that would destroy ordinary shelters. This architectural breakthrough was a game-changer for wartime shelter. This elegant design doesn't just stand still, it takes the pounding winds and bends with them. By distributing forces evenly across its curved skin, the Quonset Hut channels every gust safely into the ground, preventing weak points that could cause collapse. It's a simple, brilliant solution that transforms a shelter into a fortress against nature's fury. The theory isn't just clever engineering, it's a proven reality, setting the stage for a building that could truly survive the deadliest storms the Pacific could throw at it. Anchoring a steel hut on solid ground is one thing, but the soft, shifting sands and coral reefs of the Pacific Islands present a whole new challenge. Traditional stakes just won't grip firmly enough, risking the entire structure being swept away by a strong wind or storm surge. The team had to innovate quickly. They adapted the concept of heavy-duty steel stakes, bolstering them with tension cables, creating a kind of engineered leash to the earth itself. This approach combined the simplicity of a tense anchorage, but scaled up to handle the weight and strength of steel panels. It was an elegant and practical solution, one designed not just to hold firm, but to save lives in the fiercest weather the battlefield could throw at it. To anchor the steel huts firmly into the unpredictable Pacific terrain, the team innovated by scaling up tried-and-true tent techniques. They engineered heavy-duty steel stakes and tension cables, transforming simple concepts into a rugged, dependable system, capable of holding these steel giants securely in place, whether on sandy beaches or coral-strewn islands. This blend of old and new ensured the huts wouldn't budge in fierce winds or shifting soils, turning a fragile shelter into a fortress ready for war's toughest environments. To truly test their creation, the team sends the Quonset Hut prototype to Panama, a place where relentless heat and suffocating humidity throw every building material into disarray. Here, the steel structure faces an unforgiving tropical furnace, its walls baking under the sun, its interior battling moisture levels that could rot wood and foster mold in days. This trial is crucial. It's not just about survival, but about proving that the design can endure the extremes soldiers will encounter. As the sun beats down and sweat drips from soldiers' brows, the hut's performance will reveal whether this innovative shelter is ready to become a lifeline in a brutal environment. Though corrosion was barely a concern, an unexpected new problem surfaced: intense condensation inside the huts during the night. Water droplets formed on the cold steel walls, dripping relentlessly and turning the interior into a clammy, uncomfortable, and potentially hazardous environment for the soldiers. This moisture wasn't just a minor nuisance, it threatened health and morale, creating dampness that invited mold and mildew in the tropical climates where these shelters were desperately needed. The team realized that the Quonset Hut's steel, while durable, needed better ventilation to breathe. Finding a fix became critical. The design had to protect not only from storms and bombs, but also from the invisible enemy of trapped moisture. But the Quonset Hut's design wasn't perfect yet. In the tropical heat, condensation formed on the cold steel walls overnight, turning the interior into a soggy, uncomfortable trap. Water dripped relentlessly, creating dampness that wasn't just unpleasant, it was a serious health hazard for the soldiers relying on these shelters. This glaring flaw meant the design couldn't be deployed as is. It was clear that without a solution, the huts couldn't protect troops from the harsh environment they were built for. The team had to rethink ventilation to make these shelters truly livable in the relentless Pacific humidity. Faced with relentless tropical humidity and relentless condensation problems, the engineering team crafted a simple but brilliant fix. Ventilation louvers strategically placed at each end of the hut and along the roof's ridgeline. This clever addition wasn't just a minor tweak, it was a game changer that transformed the Quonset Hut from a sealed steel box into a breathable shelter. The louvers created a natural airflow, pulling moist, heavy air out and inviting fresh breezes in. Suddenly, the hut became a livable space, cool and dry, even under the Pacific's sweltering skies. This small innovation was the key to making the design truly battle-ready for the harshest, most unforgiving climates. This small change added just $47 to the cost of each hut, a tiny price to pay, but it made all the difference. Those ventilation louvers created a vital flow of air, transforming the Quonset Hut from a stifling steel box into a cool, breathable shelter. Now, soldiers stationed in the sweltering tropics had a refuge that wasn't just strong and swift to build, but genuinely habitable. It was a breakthrough that proved that even the smallest design tweaks could save lives and keep morale high in the harshest conditions imaginable. With the design finalized and tested, the project shifts gears from an intense sprint of prototyping to the relentless pace of production. Factories across the nation retool their assembly lines, adopting automotive manufacturing methods to churn out Quonset Hut components at unprecedented speed. Steel coils are rolled, corrugated, and galvanized, each panel engineered for strength and corrosion resistance. Every piece, every bolt, meticulously packaged and labeled with clear instructions, because these shelters won't just be built in factories, but by soldiers under fire in some of the world's harshest environments. The stakes couldn't be higher. Millions await shelter, and the Quonset Hut must live up to its promise. In June 1942, everything changed. The War Production Board gave the green light for mass production of the Quonset Hut, and more importantly, handed it top priority for steel allocation. This was no small victory. It meant factories across the nation could now focus their full power on churning out these revolutionary shelters. Steel plants swiftly retooled their operations, shifting gears from peacetime production to wartime urgency. Every coil of steel, every corrugated panel, now carried the weight of the war effort. The team's innovation was no longer just a prototype, it was about to become a backbone for soldiers across distant battlefields. The race was on, and the Quonset Hut was ready to meet the challenge. As steel fabrication plants across the Northeast and Midwest retool their entire operations, a massive industrial transformation takes hold. These factories shift gears, trading their usual output for corrugated steel panels destined to become a lifeline for soldiers thousands of miles away. Assembly lines hum in synchronized precision, mimicking the efficiency of automotive plants. Endless coils of steel are fed into presses, rolled into the iconic curved shapes, then galvanized to resist the harsh Pacific conditions. This incredible effort, unseen by most, lays the foundation for a shelter that will withstand war and nature alike, turning raw metal into a symbol of resilience and hope. They adopted automotive assembly line techniques, revolutionizing steel fabrication. With precision tooling and relentless speed, plants shifted into overdrive, rolling out components faster than ever before. Steel coils were transformed into corrugated panels, each one identical and flawless. It was a painstaking choreography of machines and men, synchronized to churn out thousands of pieces daily. This approach didn't just accelerate production, it ensured every part met strict standards to withstand the brutal demands of war. The Quonset Hut was no longer just an idea, it was becoming a tangible reality, ready to be shipped across the globe. Steel coils were rolled out, then carefully corrugated to create those distinctive ridges that would give the Quonset Huts their strength. Next came galvanization, a vital step where each panel was dipped into molten zinc. This coating wasn't just for show. It acted as a powerful shield against corrosion, especially crucial for surviving the harsh, salty air of the Pacific Islands. Every detail mattered, as these huts had to endure tropical storms, salt spray, and the relentless test of time, all while protecting the soldiers inside. This process transformed ordinary steel into battle-ready armor. Galvanizing the steel panels wasn't cheap, adding $112 to the cost of each Quonset Hut, but this process proved invaluable. By coating the steel in molten zinc, the huts gained a powerful shield against the harsh, salt-laden air of the Pacific. Without this protective layer, corrosion would rapidly weaken the structure, turning a life-saving shelter into a liability. This treatment extended the hut's lifespan exponentially, ensuring that these vital shelters could stand strong through intense storms, tropical humidity, and relentless sea air. It was a small investment that paid off in durability and reliability, cementing the Quonset Hut's reputation as a fortress born from innovation. Each Quonset Hut kit was a masterpiece of efficiency. Panels nested tightly together, shaving off precious inches to maximize cargo space. Every bolt, every washer was carefully boxed and labeled with crisp, clear instructions designed for soldiers. Soldiers who weren't builders, but needed to assemble these shelters fast. The packaging wasn't just about protection, it was a tactical move to keep the supply chain moving swiftly across oceans, onto islands, and into combat zones where time was the deadliest enemy. This attention to detail wasn't small. It was the difference between shelter and exposure, between order and chaos in the thick of war. Every last piece, nuts, bolts, washers, was carefully boxed up with crystal clear, illustrated instructions. But these weren't manuals for architects or builders. No, they were designed for soldiers, many of whom had never held a wrench before. This meant the instructions had to be straightforward, foolproof, almost like a step-by-step guide to assembling a giant steel puzzle under pressure. The goal was simple. No matter who picked up a kit, even in the chaos of a battlefield, they could erect a sturdy Quonset hut fast enough to provide shelter, safety, and a glimmer of normalcy. Freight trains heavy with stacks of Quonset hut kits became a common sight, rumbling steadily toward West Coast ports. Each crate, meticulously packed and labeled, carried the promise of shelter ready to be shipped across vast oceans and rugged islands. The rhythm of the rails echoed the urgency of the war effort, a heartbeat connecting factories to front lines. These trains were more than just metal and wood. They embodied a lifeline, carrying hope wrapped in corrugated steel to the soldiers who needed it most. As they rolled onward, the Quonset Hut wasn't just a building, it was becoming the spine of the Pacific Campaign's survival. At the bustling ports, crates filled with bright, neatly stacked Quonset Hut kits are carefully loaded onto Liberty ships. These vessels begin their voyage, carrying a mission far beyond mere cargo. They're delivering essential shelter across the vast expanse of the Pacific. Each kit represents a lifeline for countless soldiers, a promise of sturdiness amid uncertainty and war's chaos. As the ships cut through the waves, their holds brim with hope and innovation, ready to meet the challenges that the distant islands will throw at them. The journey is just beginning, but the impact of these simple steel arches will soon ripple across the theater of war. By mid-1944, the production of Quonset huts had reached a staggering peak. Over 160,000 units had been churned out and shipped across the globe, forming a network of durable shelters that cradled soldiers from every branch and specialty. These curved steel shells were much more than mere buildings. They were lifelines, standing firm amid chaos, providing protection and refuge wherever the fight raged on. The magnitude of this industrial feat was overwhelming. Steel plants running at full capacity, assembly lines humming day and night, and freight trains packed with kits rumbling toward distant ports. Each hut represented not just metal and bolts, but a beacon of resilience and hope for millions facing the brutal realities of war. By mid-1944, these resilient Quonset huts had become more than just metal shelters. They were lifelines, serving nearly 6 million military personnel, from the hard-working mechanics keeping planes aloft to the dedicated medics tending to the wounded and the pilots preparing for missions. These structures stood firm and reliable. They provided not only protection from the harsh elements and enemy attacks, but also a sense of stability amid the chaos of war. Whether under punishing sun or relentless rain, the Quonset huts offered a safe harbor, proving their vital role in keeping the American war effort moving forward on countless fronts. The true test for the Quonset hut wasn't about clever blueprints or flawless factory production. It was about survival under fire. On the battlefield, where chaos reigns and danger lurks at every corner, these steel shelters faced their real challenge. Would they stand firm against bombs, fierce storms, and the relentless hardships of war, or crumble like the tents and wooden barracks that came before? This moment would decide if the Quonset hut was just another military experiment or a groundbreaking fortress born from necessity. On Guadalcanal, the stakes were high and the pressure relentless. The Navy's construction battalions, the Seabees, worked tirelessly, piecing together Quonset huts amid constant danger. Japanese bombing raids threatened from above, each explosion a stark reminder of the war's brutal reality. Yet, despite the chaos, these soldiers transformed steel panels into sturdy shelters, providing safety, hope, and a semblance of home to those on the front lines. Every rivet hammered was a small act of defiance. Every hut completed a fortress against the storm of war. In this crucible of conflict, the Quonset Hut proved its worth not just as a building, but as a symbol of resilience. Days after a maintenance hut was completed, a massive 500-pound Japanese bomb exploded just 40 yards away. The blast wave tore through everything nearby: canvas tents shredded like paper, wooden barracks splintered and collapsed. But the Quonset Hut, it flexed violently as the steel skin rippled under the shockwave, yet it stood firm, unyielding. Inside, every mechanic remained safe, vital aircraft engines untouched. It was a startling moment of truth. The Quonset Hut had faced its first terrifying trial by fire and survived. The bomb detonates mere feet away, unleashing a shockwave so powerful it tears apart the fragile tents and wooden shacks nearby. The Quonset Hut, however, does something unexpected. It shudders violently, its corrugated steel skin rippling like a flag in a storm, flexing under the brutal force. But then, astonishingly, it holds strong. Unbroken, unfallen, the hut stands as a silent guardian in the chaos, proof that this innovative structure can survive the very fury of war itself. Inside, the men and their vital equipment remain protected, saved by the strength of a design born from desperation and refined through relentless innovation. Inside the Quonset Hut, every mechanic found shelter from the chaos outside. Vital aircraft engines, crucial for the war effort, were safely guarded from bombs and weather alike. Nearby, tents lay shredded, wooden barracks reduced to splinters, yet this steel refuge stood firm, flexing with the blast but never collapsing. It was a powerful moment, proof that the hut could withstand the harshest trials of battle and still protect those who depended on it. This was more than just a shelter, it was a lifeline, a new standard born from desperation that had just passed its first true test by fire. On Iwo Jima, the Quonset Hut faced a new, unexpected challenge. The loose volcanic sand made the standard anchoring methods useless. Traditional stakes couldn't grip the ground, threatening to send these lifelines flying with the next gust of wind. The Seabees, known for their resourcefulness, had to improvise quickly. They filled empty oil drums with sand and lashed them to the hut's base with heavy cables, creating makeshift anchors that held the structure firmly in place. It was a creative solution born from necessity, proving once again that the Quonset Hut was more than just a design. It was a symbol of adaptability amidst the chaos of war. In the unforgiving environment of Iwo Jima, the Seabees faced a daunting challenge: how to keep Quonset Huts grounded on shifting volcanic sand. Thinking quickly, they filled empty oil drums with sand and lashed them tightly to the hut's base, using heavy cables. This ingenious improvisation turned makeshift anchors into solid foundations, ensuring the huts could withstand the island's brutal storms and relentless winds. The solution was simple but effective, a perfect example of battlefield innovation meeting desperate necessity. Weeks after the makeshift anchors were rigged, a fierce typhoon slammed into the island, unleashing 110 miles-per-hour winds that tore through the landscape. Wooden barracks, once thought sturdy, splintered and collapsed like paper under the relentless assault. But the Quonset Huts? Their steel skins flexed and rippled with the blast, absorbing the tempest's fury without cracking. The improvised anchors held firm, proving that ingenuity on the ground could match the engineering on paper. Inside those shelters, soldiers found safety and shelter where none had existed before, proof that the Quonset design was more than a concept. It was a fortress born from necessity, standing tall amidst the chaos of war. Far from the tropical Pacific, a starkly different challenge awaited the Quonset Hut in the Aleutian Islands. The brutal -40 cold was no ordinary test. It made the steel brittle, threatening to crack and fracture under pressure. This wasn't just a minor setback. It jeopardized the very integrity of the design, putting the entire program's promise of universal adaptability on the line. The hardy Quonset Hut faced its toughest environmental foe yet, pushing the engineers to confront a cold reality that demanded swift and innovative solutions. Reports start flooding in. Panels of steel, the very backbone of the Quonset Hut, are cracking under the cruel strain of bitter cold. This wasn't just a minor setback, it threatened to unravel the entire program's promise of universal shelter. Suddenly, the design that seemed invincible now faced a critical challenge, casting a shadow over its global applicability. The team realized that the solution had to evolve, or risk failure in the harshest, coldest corners of the world. The stakes had never been higher. The very integrity of the Quonset Hut hung in the balance. The battlefield reports are clear, and so is the urgency. The Quonset Point team doesn't waste a second. They know that each cracked steel panel isn't just a manufacturing defect, it's a serious threat to soldiers relying on these shelters in the Arctic cold. Engineers dive back into their blueprints and materials science, racing against time to redesign the huts to endure frigid conditions without failure. Every adjustment, every new test, tightens the feedback loop between frontline realities and engineering innovation, proving that this wasn't just a building, it was a living, evolving solution born from the heart of war's relentless demands. Facing the icy grip of the Aleutian Islands, the Quonset Point team realized their standard steel just wouldn't cut it. Cold-rolled steel, the backbone of their huts, became brittle and cracked under extreme cold. So, they dug into metallurgy, specifying a new steel alloy designed to withstand sub-zero temperatures without snapping. This wasn't just a tweak, it was a critical evolution, ensuring the huts could hold strong in the harshest climates. With this breakthrough, the Quonset Hut could truly be a global shelter, no matter how brutal the environment. To tackle the cold weather challenge, the team didn't just patch things up, they innovated. They introduced a different grade of cold-rolled steel, designed specifically to handle frigid temperatures without cracking. But that wasn't all. To keep joints from becoming weak points, they engineered special rubber gaskets that insulated and flexed with the metal, preventing stress fractures from spreading. This solution was a game-changer, allowing Quonset huts to stand firm even in the harshest Arctic conditions. It was proof that the design wasn't just tough, it was adaptable, ready to meet the world's toughest environments head-on. The problem was cracked wide open. After relentless trial and error, the Quonset Hut's design finally proved it could bend without breaking, adapt to extremes without fail, and withstand any environment Mother Nature could throw its way. From scorching tropical heat to freezing Arctic blasts, this steel shelter showed it wasn't just a temporary fix, it was a resilient solution built to last. In every twist and trial, the team's innovations held firm, transforming a wartime necessity into a symbol of unstoppable engineering. The Quonset Hut was no longer just a shelter, it was an icon of adaptability, ready to meet the challenges of any battlefield or climate with unwavering strength. By 1945, the Quonset Hut had evolved from a groundbreaking experiment into a battle-hardened, highly optimized, and globally successful system. Its journey from rapid prototypes on a tight deadline to mass production in steel mills had paid off. Soldiers worldwide now relied on these resilient shelters, which stood firm against the harshest environments of war. The Quonset Hut was no longer just a structure. It was a symbol of innovation and adaptability, proving how necessity could shape a design that endured far beyond the battlefield. At the end of World War II, The U.S. military found itself with a staggering surplus of about 170,000 Quonset Hut structures that had proven indispensable throughout the conflict. Suddenly, these wartime shelters faced a new purpose, as millions of returning veterans and their families sought homes amid a post-war housing crisis. What began as a military necessity transformed into a symbol of American resilience and practicality, ready to meet civilian needs in a rapidly changing world. At the same time that the nation grappled with this flood of returning veterans, America faced an urgent crisis, a severe shortage of civilian housing. Millions of soldiers who had endured the hardships of war now sought to rebuild their lives and start families, but there simply weren't enough homes to meet the demand. Cities and towns were overwhelmed, construction materials were scarce, waiting lists for housing stretched longer by the day. This impending housing crunch created a pressing need for affordable, quickly built homes to shelter the post-war generation. The country was on the brink of a new challenge, one that would test the same innovative spirit that had fueled the Quonset Hut's wartime success. As the War Assets Administration opened the doors, selling off the surplus Quonset Huts to civilians, a wave of creativity and practicality swept across the nation. Suddenly, these sturdy, easy-to-assemble shelters were no longer just military tools. They became affordable homes for veterans struggling to find a place in post-war America. Entire suburban neighborhoods sprung up around these metal shells, transformed by the hands of new owners into warm, lived-in spaces. Churches, schools, and farms embraced the huts, repurposing them with ingenuity to meet their unique needs. What began as a wartime necessity had quietly redefined everyday American life, turning battle-born innovation into lasting symbols of resilience and community. With no conventional homes within reach, many veterans turned to these sturdy, prefabricated Quonset Huts as a beacon of hope. In places like Portland's Fairview Edition, they transformed these simple steel shells into cozy, affordable suburban homes. Each hut became more than just shelter. It was a new beginning, a symbol of resilience and adaptability for those seeking stability after the upheavals of war. This grassroots reinvention gave rise to entire communities built on practicality and hard-earned dreams, proving that from the ashes of conflict, life could indeed find a way forward. As communities swelled with new members after the war, churches found themselves needing spaces that could be built fast and on a tight budget. Quonset Huts fit that need perfectly. These steel structures, easy to ship and assemble, transformed into humble sanctuaries where congregations could gather, worship, and find solace. What began as military shelters became vibrant, lively places of faith, serving booming post-war populations and proving that even structures born in war could nurture peace and community. As the nation braced for the baby boom, school districts scrambled to accommodate the swelling classrooms, turning to Quonset Huts for quick, affordable solutions. These steel shelters, once built for war, became the backbone of education, providing safe, sturdy spaces where generations of children learned and played. Meanwhile, farmers discovered their own use for these versatile structures, ideal for storing grain, equipment, and sheltering livestock. From bustling classrooms to quiet barns, the Quonset Hut's adaptability reshaped everyday American life, proving that a wartime invention had found new purpose in peace. Born from the chaos of war, the Quonset Hut didn't just survive battle. It evolved into an enduring American symbol of resilience and practicality. From rugged military outposts to humble suburban backyards, its simple, sturdy design met the needs of a nation rebuilding itself. These corrugated steel shells offered more than shelter. They embodied a promise of stability during uncertain times. Veterans found affordable homes, schools, and churches sprang up quickly, and farmers gained reliable storage, all from a structure once forged in conflict. The Quonset Hut's legacy is clear. Innovation born of necessity can reshape both war and peace, leaving a mark that lasts for generations. The Quonset Hut's legacy extends far beyond its origins in the chaos of World War II. Its core principles, prefabrication, durability, and efficiency, have become foundational to modern design and engineering. Today, these ideas shape rapid response shelters for disaster zones, buildings crafted to withstand fierce winds, and even architectural innovations in distant, harsh environments. What started as a military necessity evolved into a blueprint for resilience, proving that smart design can tackle challenges both imminent and unforeseen. The Quonset Hut stands as a quiet reminder that innovation born from urgency continues to influence how we build, protect, and adapt our world. In the aftermath of disaster, speed and efficiency mean everything, and that's exactly where the Quonset Hut's legacy shines brightest. After the 2010 Haiti earthquake devastated thousands of homes, relief teams turned to shelters rooted in this iconic design. Rapidly deployable, lightweight, and simple to assemble, these modern shelters drew directly from the Quonset's self-supporting arch and prefabrication principles. They became lifelines for families displaced by catastrophe, proving that even decades after World War II, the ingenuity born in crisis continues to save lives. From battlefields to disaster zones, the Quonset Hut's influence endures, a testament to how smart design can meet urgent human needs fast and resilient. Research following Hurricane Katrina confirmed something remarkable. The aerodynamic, curved design of Quonset-style huts isn't just visually distinctive, it's a key reason these structures withstand extreme winds better than traditional buildings. Their seamless arches deflect fierce gusts instead of fighting them head-on, reducing damage and offering resilience when it matters most. This insight didn't just validate decades of design, it inspired engineers worldwide to rethink shelter architecture, drawing directly from the proven strength of a simple steel shell born in wartime innovation. Today, the self-supporting arch of the Quonset Hut has transcended its military origins to inspire a wide variety of structures. From sleek, high-end architectural homes that combine style with strength, to rugged off-grid cabins perfect for remote living, this design continues to prove its versatility. Even advanced military shelters leverage the same innovative curvature, providing rapid deployment and resilience under harsh conditions. It's a legacy that shows how a simple engineering breakthrough from the 1,940 seconds keeps shaping the spaces where we live, work, and take refuge, still strong, still reliable, and endlessly adaptable. Even NASA has found inspiration in the Quonset Hut's ingenious design. When planning habitats for Mars, facing supply chain challenges and harsh environments, strikingly like those of 1942, they look to that simple, self-supporting arch. It's a reminder that innovation born from urgent necessity can echo across decades and even across planets. Who would have guessed that a wartime shelter could shape humanity's future in space? The story of the Quonset Hut shows how resilience and smart design truly know no bounds. The Quonset Hut is more than just a shelter, it embodies resilience born from urgency. Crafted under the harsh demands of wartime necessity, its design defied convention and endured the planet's toughest climates and fiercest battles. From the muddy tropics to the frigid Aleutians, this ingenious structure didn't merely survive, it thrived, proving innovation forged in crisis can shape decades, even centuries, of progress. Today, as we face new challenges, Whether climate change, pandemics, or space exploration, the Quonset Hut stands as a powerful reminder that necessity truly is the mother of invention. What extraordinary solution will tomorrow's crisis inspire? Stay curious, because the next great breakthrough is always just beyond the horizon.